Today we are going to talk about depreciation and knowing when to retire a car. Before I get into that, click below, grab the 5 things you must do before starting a car rental business. It also includes the car share growth guide. Lots of great information in there with regards to which are the strongest areas in which you should place your cars. Also, give me a like and a subscribe. I always appreciate that. So let's talk about depreciation and when to retire a car. A lot of people have this big fear about depreciation in this industry, as if it's some boogeyman that's going to like silently sneak up on you and like send you into financial ruin. It's really not that bad, but I will give you some metrics that can give you some nice guardrails with regards to how to manage your business. The golden rule in car share is the 1-to-1 ratio, and that is for every dollar that is coming into your bank account, there should be 1 mile put onto your car. So typically on platforms like Turo or GetAround, you do $1,000 in revenue a month for a car and you will put 1,000 miles onto the car. In that scenario, you will be fine. You're not going to get underwater on any loans or anything like that. The key time to track depreciation is especially when you have a loan, because you have to keep track of the loan to value ratio. So that said, can you get underwater on a car or a loan? Yes, it does happen. It's happened to me once, and only because I put a very low down payment on a $45,000 car, and I had an Uber driver like drive the crap out of that car. So when you put a low down payment and you buy a high priced car and you have an Uber driver put a ton of miles on it, then yes, in that trifecta, you will get underwater on a loan. But even then, even with all those screw ups, I still only got about $5,000 underwater. And there are ways to fix that as well. I would tell you that really, if you are paying close attention to the mileage, you really don't want to buy cars, in my opinion, over $25,000, especially for base level car share or working with Uber drivers. Obviously, if you're in a luxury or exotics business, that's a different formula, it's a different equation. But if you're working in just base level car share, you want to maintain that 1-to-1 ratio. For every dollar that's coming into your bank account, 1 mile is being put onto the car. In that scenario, you usually will put about 12,000 miles a year on a car. Most cars, most rentals last 4 to 5 years. So you typically need about a 60,000 mile runway for a car. That's why I typically recommend buying cars around 60,000 miles, because that gets you up to 120 by the time it's done. And at that point is when things start breaking down quite a bit. But usually within that 4 to 5 years, the car will be totaled by a renter at some point. So people always ask me, when's it time to sell a car? Well, the car will tell you when it's time to sell it, because typically it will get totaled in a rental. If you're dealing with Uber drivers, the equation is a little different. I would tell you that you really don't want to go above 4,000 to 5,000 miles a month with an Uber driver. And if you're dealing with an Uber driver, you want newer cars. A car with 60 to 100,000 miles isn't going to be great for an Uber driver, because they are going to run up that mileage very quickly. It's better to have a newer car with an Uber driver, because it gives more runway for mileage. But that said, it's different in every city. So when I lived in New York City, my Uber drivers were driving all the time, and they were still only putting 25,000 miles a year on the car. That's not that bad for full-time Uber drivers. However, in Atlanta, when guys were driving on Uber full-time, because Atlanta is a much more spread out city, those drivers were putting on 8,000 to 9,000 miles a month sometimes, which is crazy, and we can't have that. So you have to really keep an eye on this part of the business if you're going to work with Uber drivers. And this goes for anyone who's got a car in the Drive with Uber program on GetAround as well. Do not let anyone drive your car more than 5,000 miles a month. That's 1,250 miles a week. You really do not want them to go any more than that. But if they're driving about 40 to 45 hours a week, they should come in around 5,000 miles a month. If you are going to work with an Uber driver, always ask them, how many miles a month do you put on a car? Trust me, they know. They always know. They know exactly how many miles they put on each month. So if they say, yeah, I normally put on around 7,000 or 8,000 miles a month, just don't work with them. It's that simple. But just to summarize, the golden rule is the 1-to-1 ratio in car share. And with Uber drivers, I would not let them go over 5,000 miles a month. But obviously in a private rental scenario, you can charge a lot more money too. So if you're in a private rental scenario with an Uber driver, you should be charging $400 to $500 a week for that car because of the extra mileage. Anyway, I hope you find that useful. Before you go, click below, grab the 5 things you must do before starting a car rental business. I will catch you in the next episode. Thank you.